T-U-R-T-L-E power, T-U-R-T-L-E power, T-U-R-T-L-E power, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What's going on, guys? Buckle up, we got a big video today. I'm Jack Small of the Animation Station, no one's thought destination for anything and everything animation, including, finally, 4 Heroes and a Half Shell. I cannot say into words how excited I am to finally be able to talk about this. Guys, we are finally talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. This is a video about everything we know so far before the big trailer release tomorrow. We're going to be looking at the designs, the concept art, the cast list, the teaser trailer, and every little bit of information that we know about this movie so far, including a few leaks of the action figures that are already circulating. So, yeah, buckle up. We have a big one for today, and this is going to be a huge video. This is going to be very long. It's going to be very informational, and I will try to put timestamps in the either a pinned comment or the description of this video for you guys. So, what we're going to be doing is first, I'm going to be pulling up the IMDb page on my computer here. And we will talk about the basic stuff that we know, like who's behind it, who's making it, the director, the company, etc., etc. You know, that stuff. Aside from the fact that it is, as always, coming from Nickelodeon. So, let me just get rid of some extra excess tabs that aren't needed. Alright, let's take a look at everything we have here so far. Okay, so, the movie's writers include Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Yes, the guys that actually made the Turtles comics, the original Image comics, that's cool. As well as Brendan O'Brien, that's pretty cool. Next we have Jeff Rowe and Kyler Spears. And I can't remember if it was Jeff or Kyler, but one of these guys, it was Jeff, okay. We have the writer for Mitchell's versus the Machines, which is great. That's a great detail. And then we also have, well, the art director of Mitchell's versus the Machines here as well, which is also why it's going the Spider-Verse route, as you will see when we do react to the little teaser trailer from the Kids' Choice Awards. So, yep. And of course, it's going to be made by Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon Movies, as it pretty much always is with these. But it's also going to be made by, I believe, the company, Seth Rogen's production company. He's going to be a producer. I've heard has some writing influence in here. But then again, I'm going off IMDb and they're not always accurate, so please bear with me, and if I get anything wrong, let me know in the comments section. Alright? Thanks. So the release date is August 4th of 2023. Great choice, because August pretty much has no competition for that month, aside from maybe Blue Beetle, but I don't know. It's probably not. Here we go. This is what we're looking for. Image Comics, Point Grey Pictures, and Nickelodeon Animation Studios. So, yep, Point Grey, that's, I believe the name is Seth Rogen's production company. And then, of course, Nickelodeon Animation, because this is a Nickelodeon IP. And Image Comics, because, according to IMDb, now, again, correct me if I'm wrong, Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman, the original writers, are involved in the movie. And that's actually very good news. So, yeah, that's pretty big. So, yep, that is the people behind it, the writers, the directors. Talked about pretty much everything but the actors. I want to say the actors for the end, though, because there's some big names in there. So, let's start by taking a look at the designs of the Turtles. I'm going off a leaked picture, so please, Nickelodeon, do not copyright strike me. But seeing how this is found from Google, I'm going to assume that you're not going to do that, which I'm hoping you don't. Alright, let's just go front to back. Let's start with Leonardo. He looks great. Leo's always been my favorite turtle, and he looks pretty much one-for-one classic perfect here. Like, he's got the blue. It's interesting they're using the colors of the turtles for the wraps, where they're usually brown. Like, if you look on my t-shirt here, the 2012 designs, they have, like, brown elbow pads and knee pads. But I guess since they are going for the teenage angle with this movie, they want to do something a bit more unique. And you know what? I'm all for it. This looks great. Like, Leo looks, well, pretty much like perfect classic Leo. Then we get to Raphael, who's pretty interesting. For one, they gave him a full head bandana, just like they did in Rise and Next Mutation, which is an interesting choice, I'll admit. But seeing how Raph's supposed to be the tough one of the group, it doesn't really bother me that much. And then, of course, he has red on his elbows and shoulders, but he also has red on his wrists. Like, that's interesting. And as you're going to see in the teaser trailer when we do a reaction to it later in this particular video, he also has a chipped tooth. Like two of his teeth up here are missing. So, yeah, definitely going for that rough, tough, gruff exterior, and I personally really like it. Next, we come to Donatello. He looks really good. Definitely the most detailed of the bunch because he's got glasses, headphones, cell phone, bunch of tech stuff. And I'm especially really intrigued by the design of his bow staff. Like, it's very unique from everything else we've seen from Turtles. Like, very, very unique. And I do love this design personally. And then finally we have Michelangelo, who looks a lot like Leo, pretty much just classic, perfect, one-for-one Michelangelo. But there's a little detail in here that's setting off a lot of people, and I don't really understand. And that's the fact that he has braces. Why is that such a big problem? They said they were going for the teenage angle, guys. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. And I personally think it's a really cool, interesting change. So, yeah, I don't mind it. I really like these designs. And then my thoughts on the logo. Awesome. It's unique, it's distinct, and it's definitely going to stand out against all the other Ninja Turtle movie logos and pretty much any other Ninja Turtles logo we've gotten in the past, 30-something years? So yeah, that is my thoughts on the designs. They look absolutely fantastic. Moving on from that, let's take a look at some concept art. Some leaked concept art. Again, Nickelodeon, please don't take me down for this, okay? Okay, so we've already talked about the turtles, but this gives us more of a interesting look at them. Like, if you look here, we do see Raphael's sai, which is something that wasn't from that last picture, or at least not really. We didn't see the full design, we just saw the blades. But this also looks like it's from a more early part of the movie, because you can see they have just normal white wraps around their arms. Kind of like they have the white wraps, again, on the 2012 designs, which is interesting. And of course, they're eating pizza, because what's a Ninja Turtles movie or anything related to TMNT without pizza? And then in the back here is when it gets very interesting. We have this giant whale monster that also has a narwhal and a bunch of octopus climbing on him. Like, I don't know if this is just a concept art that's going to not be in the final film, or if it's just something unique and weird. I don't know. It's interesting. Then, of course, over here, we got the Technodrome. It was already revealed that the Utroms would be involved in this movie, so... And for those of you that don't know, Utrom is another word for Krang, so... Why they're not just calling them Krang, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to be super faithful to the original series. And then we have someone over here shooting off some kind of machine gun. If I had to guess, that's probably Rocksteady, or maybe Mondo Gecko. Like, it's really hard to tell because it's very, very weird concept art. And then if you look way up here, there's some kind of flying bat monster thing, and a little one falling behind it. Again, weird, but okay. And then we have this guy right here who looks like Shredder. keyword looks like Shredder. It's probably not, or it is, and they're probably saving him for the second movie because the studio heads have a lot of faith in this one. But this does look a lot like Shredder. He does have a very angular design that does remind me a bit of like the Mortal Kombat Legends sort of aesthetic, where they have very angular designs for some of their characters with armor. But this looks really cool. I really like this Shredder design. And the way that the armor is so stylized, it looks great. And I think he's also missing like a part of his helmet up here. If you look up here, Arrow from editing, help me out here. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's very interesting to say the least. I don't know if that is Shredder, but if it is, that's a really unique and interesting design. So, yeah, pretty cool looking concept art. Okay, now let's move on to the toys, and I'm sorry for the really bad image quality. These haven't been officially leaked or revealed yet. So apologies for the really bad quality. I do have a better picture of Splinter, so we'll save him for last. So let's take a look here. So from what we can see from these blurry images, we see the packaging of the toys, which looks very cool. Very, very cool, very fitting of the movie. And then we also have some of the accessories that come with. Some of them you expect, like Donnie has his headphones as a separate accessory, which is pretty cool. Then we have the designs here. They all look really good together. It's interesting that they gave Michelangelo the darkest skin of the bunch, the darkest skin color, because usually that's reserved for Raphael. So that's very interesting. Very, very interesting. And then moving down from that, we do have some of the mutants here. We got Leatherhead all the way up on the top right there. I think it looks really interesting. I feel like they are using that whole weaponry design they did for the TMNT 2012 toys, where you had to like twist them out of a big thing of plastic to get the accessories out. I don't know. Maybe it's just bad image quality. We have a small little picture of Superfly. Definitely looks like a big buff boy. No doubts about that. And then, of course, Bebop and Rocksteady, which look very unique and interesting, which I'm sure we'll get better pictures of when we get the trailer tomorrow. But yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty exciting. I do like these. And then, like I said, I do have a better picture of Splinter. There we go. This is the best picture we have so far of these figures, which is the Master Splinter, which also kind of leaks his design. And you know what? It fits his character. He does have he has the robe, he has the purple belt, he's got the black pants, he has the gray fur. Like, it looks really good. And then he's wearing sunglasses because why not? One thing that I would say is interesting here, that I'm going to say is interesting here, is that they didn't give him, like, his accessories aren't, like, a brown color. Like, again, in the TMNT 2012 line, with their Master Splinter, they had his accessories being molded in a brown or green plastic. So using orange is definitely unique. And looking from this picture here, we can see he's going to have some kind of blaster at some point. Like some kind of blaster. He's got his bow and arrow. He's got some ninja stars. And of course, Playmates is going to be behind these toys because they are the main shareholder of these, of the TMNT IP toy license. Also, this isn't TMNT related, but I want to throw this in here. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 finally won an award at an award show. Yeah, suck it, Genshin fans. Sonic won Best Fan. Sonic 2 won Favorite Movie at the 2023 Kids' Choice Awards. Well deserved. I don't know if Jim Carrey won for Best Actor or not. I'm going to have to look that one up later. And I will do a video reacting to these KCA wins later today. So, yeah. Just wanted to throw that in there. Now let's get to the big one. You're all waiting for me to talk about it. Let's talk about this cast. Like, oh man, where do we start with this cast? So, we'll just go from here to there, all the way to the bottom. So, let's start. So the first one up is Micah Abbey, who's the voice of Donatello. I'm a bit bummed it's not Alejandro Saab, especially after I talked to him in his comment section of one of his videos, and he said that he wanted to voice Donatello if he got the choice. But you know what? I'm not too terribly mad. I'm definitely willing to give this guy a shot. And according to IMDb, he is most well known for Meet the Voxels, Cousins of Life, and Frankie Boehner on Grey's Anatomy. Interesting. I don't watch any of those shows, but yeah, I'm not really familiar with this actor, but you know what? I'm willing to give him a chance. Congrats to him for getting the role. I especially also love that they are giving all these cast reveals really unique, distinct font designs that give us a bit of a hint at their personality. Like if we look here at Donatello, which they're going to call Donnie in this movie, we can see that he has a very digitized design, a lot of equations around it, and even what looks like a little Space Invader for the dot in the eye, which is a really cool design. I really like that. That's really cool. Moving on from that, we have SHAMON Brown Jr. A lot of people thought he was going to be the voice of Raphael, which is a decent assumption, but nope, he's going to be the voice of Michelangelo. And he's a very relative newcomer because so far his acting credits is only as Stanley Papa Jackson in a series called The Cheat. So yeah, he is a very, very new actor to this cast. And I think he's also a musician, if I'm not mistaken. I think, if I'm wrong about that, please correct me in the comments. So yeah. And of course, with Mikey, you gotta have, he's always about pizza, so why not have pizza for his name? That's a really nice touch. Especially like how the K and the Y sort of blend into together with this, like, U-turn looking design. It's really interesting. Like, it's so cool, so cool. Next up is the big one for me personally. That's Nicholas Cantu as the voice of Leonardo. For those of you that don't know who this guy is, he is only the voice of Gumball. Yeah, he's the voice actor for Gumball in The Amazing World of Gumball. But he was also in Walking Dead, Unicorn, Good Place, Sydney to the Max. He's a voice in Oddballs. He was Hark in The Fablemans, which I just reviewed last year. He was in Family Guy. Yeah, he's done a lot of things. But, of course, he's most well known for voicing Gumball. So, that's a really big one. That's really cool. And I love Leo's font design here, where he has a wooden board with his bandana draped over it and a ninja star etched into the side. Like, it's really giving us a small taste of each of their personalities, which is pretty much exactly what we expect. So, yeah, Leo looks great. It's cool that he's going to be voiced by Gumball, and I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out. Next up, the final of the four turtles, we have Brady Noon as Raphael. This is another guy I'm not really familiar with, but according to IMDb, he was the voice of Greg Heffley in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roger Rules, the Disney one, and then he was also the voice of Greg in the other Disney films. That's pretty much his most well-known role, voicing Greg Heffley in the Disney Plus Diary of Wimpy Kids. And he was also the Moro in the Mighty Ducks, so yeah, pretty cool. I'm not exactly sure what he's going to bring to this role, but I'm excited to see where it's going to go, so yeah. And again, having Raph's name made out of steel because he's the rough, gruff, tough one of the group, that absolutely works. That is such a cool design. Now let's get to what is by far the most exciting out of all these cast members, and this is when we start getting into the big names. Starting with Jackie Chan as the voice of Splinter. Why and how this took so long to happen is beyond me, but this is perfect casting. There have been so many fan castings for Ninja Turtle movies over the years where people have wanted Jackie Chan to be the voice of Master Splinter. It's just too perfect. And here, it's finally happening, and it's by far the most exciting of all these cast listings. Like, that is so cool. And again, the font design, also amazing. Brown fur, some little white tape, the little teacup being the dot in the eye is a really nice touch, and then the T being his colors, which is his purplish pink robe with his dark purple waist belt, is great. And I'm also seeing glasses on the R there, which is interesting. And a bit of ooze dripping off some of the design as well. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. And Jackie Chan, I know he's going to do amazing as Master Splinter. So, yeah, that is by far my favorite and most excited casting of the bunch. Moving on from that, we have Ayo Edebiri as the voice of April. This is another person I'm not really familiar with, but according to IMDb, she's most known for playing Cindy Adamu in The Bear, Hattie, and Dickinson. She's a writer in What We Do in the Shadows, and she's going to be in the Marvel Studios movie Thunderbolts. That's literally all I know. Oh, she was also Aisha in Abbott Elementary, apparently. But, yeah, I don't really recognize any of these shows, so we're just going to see how it goes. Also, I think this is the second time since Rise that we've gotten a African-American version of April O'Neil. And again, this is really cool. You got the yellow trench coat design. You have, April's name in red. Very nice design. Moving on from that, probably the biggest out of left field of all of them is Ice Cube as the voice of Superfly. We all know Ice Cube. I mostly know him for the Are We Done Yet movies, because that's what I've watched the most as a kid that had him involved in it. And this is interesting. He's either going to be the mutated version of Baxter Stockman, who, spoiler alert, is also in this movie, or they're going to be separating the two characters into something entirely different. Or maybe they're going to do a Hulk thing where it's like two different personalities. I don't know. But Ice Cube being in here is definitely a big plus for the movie's... definitely a big plus for this movie. Especially to a guy that hasn't really been all that really well versed in movies lately. So he hasn't really been well versed in movies or acting lately, so this is going to be interesting. So yeah, pretty cool casting. Then we got Seth Rogen. I mean, he's the producer, his production team's behind it, and he's probably going to have a hand in the writing. So I mean, it makes sense to give him a character. And Bebop seems like it would fit well with the kind of character he usually does. And again, love this design with this. You got the chain, you got the grenade, you have the warthog skin with spikes, and then you also have, of course, those classic purple visors. Yeah, awesome. Then there's John Cena as Rocksteady. This is another one that's just absolutely perfect. And this is also not his first time in a Ninja Turtles movie, because he was also the voice... Let me find it here. Yes, he was the voice of Baron Draxum in the Rise series and the Rise movie. So, yeah, pretty interesting. I'm not a big fan of Rise, as you may or may not already know if you've watched my top 10 worst movies of 2022 list. But this is still really cool. And I definitely think that Rocksteady is a great pick for John Cena, and he can definitely be funny when he wants to be. So, yeah, I'm all for this casting. I really enjoy it. Definitely a really, really cool inclusion in the movie. Now, this one is also a really good casting. This is Mondo Gecko. He's going to be voiced by Paul Rudd. I mean, do I even need to bring up his IMDb? I didn't think so. I mean, we know Paul Rudd. We all know who he is, and we mostly all know him for Ant-Man. Let's be honest. So, yeah, but having him voice Mondo Gecko is perfect. And again, font design, just absolutely perfect. With the beads and the light blue letters. Very cool. Next up, I am going to bring up the IMDb of this person because I'm not familiar with them. This is Natasha Demetriou. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. She's going to be the voice of Wingnut. And it's going to be interesting that Wingnut's in this movie because I don't think we've seen Wingnut since the 80s cartoon. Please, again, correct me if I'm wrong on this. She's most known for Nadja and What We Do in the Shadows, Tingle Maiden Please Like, Sophie and Death's Let's Flat. and Bride Smurf in the festival. Okay. Oh, and she's also Calamaria in the Cuphead show. Yeah, I'm not familiar with this person at all, but you know what? I'm all for interesting, unique castings. And again, font design, perfect. That mixed with a little bit of technology. Just perfect, perfect, perfect. Next up is Rose Byrne as Leatherhead. This is going to be interesting because I feel like this is the first time that Leatherhead is going to be voiced by a female, because usually it's voiced by a guy. So that's going to be an interesting little detail. She's most well known for playing Helen in Bridesmaids, Kelly Radner in Neighbors, Renee Lambert in Insidious, and Rena Boyanov in Spy. So, and she's also the voice of Brandy and Bluey. So, yeah. This one definitely has more movies I'm familiar with attached to, but I still don't really know the actress all that well. So, we'll see how this goes. And again, that design, perfect, green, and the bottom being the teeth. That's perfect, 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 perfect. Now for another one that was a bit out of left field, we have Post Malone as the voice of Ray Fillet. This is another person I don't think we've seen since the 80s cartoon. And it's very interesting that they have him in here. Let's see, has he done any movies before this? Yes, he was Robert number 6 in Wrath of Man, and he was the Brooklyn bystander in Into the Spider-Verse. Okay. And I also assume, since he is included in here, I'm also going to assume that he's also going to be behind the music. A lot like he was with Spider-Verse. So, this is cool. And I think Ray Fillet is a very interesting and unique character for him to take on. So, I'm all for it. And again, that logo design is just perfect. He's got the scuba mask, you got the eye, you have the fishtail on the T, and you have a knife. Like, it's perfect. I think this is the last one, right? Oh, no, there's one more after this. Okay. Next up is Hannibal Buress as Genghis Frog. This is another guy I'm not really familiar with, but from what I've heard, he's a comedian. So, has he done any movies? Let's see. Oh, yes. He was Coach Wilson in Homecoming, voiced of Buddy in Secret Life of Pets, Officer Watkins in Neighbors. Yep, 2 Neighbors actors are involved, apparently. And Kevin Sable in Tag. So, any other credits in here that are more noteworthy? Mr. Terrific in Justice League Action. Okay. He played Hannibal in Slice. And he was the voice of Finch in The Simpsons. Okay. So this guy's mostly well known for playing Coach Wilson in the MCU Spider-Man movies. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting choice. And I think Genghis Frog is a really interesting inclusion as well, because if you know your Turtles lore, this is one of the 4 frogs that Shredder tried to train in the 80s show to be like an evil version of the Ninja Turtles. So, interesting that he's in here. Don't know if we're going to get the rest of them in here or not, but that's a really interesting detail. And again, text design, absolutely perfect. You got the blue bandana because he's supposed to be the evil Leonardo. You got the eyes in the R and the O. And of course, for the eye, you have his classic battle axe. So, yeah, they know exactly what they're doing with this movie. Okay, 2 more to go. Next up is Maya Rudolph as Cynthia Utrom. This is one of those that I'm a bit iffy on because I'm not really a Maya Rudolph fan. So, I don't know. It's one that I just think is kind of meh. But it is interesting that she's going to be the voice of an Utrom in this movie, or voice of Krang, whatever they decide to go with. And it does have a very interesting design here. Very neon. So, no, that's all I can really say about that. Alright, moving on. Okay, this is the last one. This is Giancarlo Esposito as Baxter Stockman. This is perfect casting. Of course, he's most well known for playing the one dude in Breaking Bad. What was his name? Sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm a bit of a stuttering mess. I haven't had my coffee yet today. Gus Fringe. Yes, Gus Fringe in Breaking Bad. That's his most well-known role. So, yeah. And it fits really well with the character of Baxter Stockman. And again, love this text design. You have all the sciencey stuff. You have a lab coat on the S. You have some beakers and files. You have glasses. And he has a weird green texture to his to the whole design here. So I think that means that's going to be his main color of his lab coat, or at least some kind of shirt he's wearing underneath. So that's going to be interesting. And I think that's everything. Yep, that's all of them. So yeah, that's all the cast. Stacked to say the least. Jackie Chan Splinter, definitely the big standout here, but Nicholas Cantu getting to voice Leonardo is great. I've been a huge Gumball fan for a while, and I'm excited that he gets to be in a big major motion picture animated movie. And the rest are mostly pretty good. Maya Rudolph is the one I'm definitely a bit on the fence about, but maybe that'll change when I see the trailer tomorrow. So, alright, so we've looked at the production companies, the release date, the cast, the characters, the concept art, and the leaked turtle designs, as well as the toys. So I think all that's left now for us to look at for this video is that teaser trailer from the KCAs. So, without further ado, let's check it out, shall we? Alrighty, here we are at the official teaser. Unfortunately, this hasn't been released online quite yet, so apologies for the bad quality. This is from live at the KCAs, so the quality is going to be quite bad, but we're still going to dissect as much as we can. So, without further ado, let's look at it. This is a very short teaser. It's not even half a minute. It's only 20 seconds, so let's look into it, shall we? And then, of course, as always, we'll slow it down, analyze every little frame, see what we can get out of it. Everything we can get out of it before the big trailer drops tomorrow. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, that looks good. Yep, very Spider-Verse. Nice. And of course the logo. So yeah, that's a pretty cool, hype little trailer. It doesn't really give us a whole lot when you just watch it by itself, but when we mute the volume to get down to 2.5 speed, it also gives us a bit of a taste of the turtles' voices, but you can't really hear it because everyone's screaming too loud, so unfortunately I can't really comment on that. So let me take this down to 2.5 speed like we always do. Now let's analyze. So we got the logo popping up. Our first little bit here, it's very hard to see. Again, I'm sorry for the bad quality, but we see the first person we see here is Donatello spinning around his bow staff. Definitely looks, again, very Spider-Verse with that frame rate, and it looks sick. So, we see him. Then it goes dark. It has more of the turtles talking with each other. Then we get was by far the most clear and interesting image of the bunch. We have Leonardo, and he's flipping his swords around, and the way that it makes with the frame rate, oh, it looks so cool. So sick, so cool, so freaking stylized, and I love it. And then he puts him in his sheath, which, if you couldn't already know, this is black, which is a very interesting design. Then we have Michelangelo. His nunchucks is also a very interesting design, very angular. And of course, he does have the silver chain. We don't see a whole lot here, but we do see that they are going to have the big heads, kind of like they did with the old 80s designs, where they had like a little top and then a super big round part for the bottom of the head where their mouth is. like after you have the headband up here. Very interesting. And then the most interesting one of all is Raph here. Where, again, like I said earlier, we can see he has a chipped tooth. And we can also see that there's a very unique design to these sides. Like, very, very angular. And him licking it, weird. That's a bit weird, but you know what? It kind of fits his character. So I'm willing to let it slide. But it looks really good. It looks really, really good here. And then we see the logo. Well, first we have the New York City sewer. Very interesting text. And then we have the logo. Yeah, this looks great. I don't really know what else to say, because again, we've pretty much dissected everything we know about this movie so far, from the concept art, to the cast, to the production companies, to the release date. I guess the only other big thing to talk about is the animation. Since this is being done by the director, and I assume the animation team behind Mitchell's vs. the Machines, this is going for Spider-Verse. This is going to be very hyper-stylized. It's going to be very low frame rate, like a comic book feel. And honestly, with Ninja Turtles, it kind of makes a lot of sense, especially with these new redesigns. So, yeah, I'm all for this, and I definitely think this movie is going to look better and better with every single passing day. And of course, we got the big trailer tomorrow, but I wanted to make a big video talking about just everything we know about this movie so far. Since I didn't talk about any of it when they all first got released. So, yeah, you're going to start seeing more Ninja Turtles on the channel, because I'm definitely going to talk more about the Turtles and my personal history with them leading up to the release of this movie. The movie comes out in August, so we're probably going to start talking about Turtles probably around the end of September. So, yeah, that's what you have to look forward to. Stay tuned for that. And of course, like I said already, stay tuned, because the trailer's dropping tomorrow. Oh, it's time for Turtle Mania to start once again and Hype Train to get rolling. So, yep, that's all I got. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on all this news, on this whole movie, everything we've discussed down below. And let me know your hype for this movie. And most of all, let me know your personal favorite of all these castings, because I know it's probably going to vary from person to person. Even though a lot of us are going to say Jackie Chan, myself included, which has already been done in this video. Anyway, I'm rambling, so I'm going to shut up now. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Jack Small of Animation Station. I'll see you guys next time. Cowabunga, dude! I'm going to have some coffee now. Peace.